Do you hear it? The sound you're hearing, it is not the Islamic call to prayer, which that lovely call from the religion of peace, it can now be heard 5 times a day in Minneapolis, the once beautiful capital of the Islamic Republic of Minnesota. Those screams of terror, believe it or not, they are not coming from the WNBA dump, as the diva of Dump Divas Kat Engelbert is realizing that the polish is rapidly melting off the turd. This particular terror, it is coming from the once immortal city of Hollywood. Hollywood is on life support. Back in 2019, the movie industry generated almost $43 billion at the box office. In the year of our Lord 2025, with about 3 weeks remaining, Hollywood movies have generated just over $27 billion. That is a massive decline. Unfortunately for Hollywood, it's about to get a hell of a lot worse. Yesterday, we talked about the potential impact that this Netflix merger with Warner Brothers could have on the Cemetery News Network, better known as CNN. But this merger between Netflix and Warner Brothers, it could completely decimate, it could completely dismantle the movie industry. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. The other day on the channel Discord server, we were talking about this societal obsession with free. There's a young man on the server. He's around 19, 20 years old. He is a full-fledged member of Gen Z, but he is not Gen Z LGBT. He was complaining about the commercials on NFL Red Zone. This is outrageous! I'm already paying $10 a month for NFL Red Zone, and these greedy bastards have the audacity to run 5 minutes of commercials in 7 hours. What? Excuse me? Have we really gotten so spoiled? And by we, I'm talking about society in general. I am not singling out the kids in Gen Z. Have we really gotten so spoiled that we are now complaining about 5 minutes of commercials in a 7-hour broadcast? We used to get 5 minutes of commercials for every 10 to 12 minutes of programming. But KC, we weren't paying monthly. If I'm paying $10 a month, there should be no commercials. We were paying monthly. You got a bill in the mail every month from your cable provider, and you were paying for access. Not only were you paying for access, you were also bombarded with commercials. With the advent of streaming services like Netflix, there's been this ill-perceived expectation that we should have access to millions and millions of hours of content for less than $20 a month. With Netflix acquiring Warner Brothers, a major production company, now the expectation will be that these high-priced films, these films that cost hundreds of millions of dollars to produce, they should be available to the consumer at no additional cost. Now, from a consumer perspective, this sounds great, right? With Netflix acquiring Warner Brothers, this could absolutely decimate movie theaters. 10 years from now, we could be talking about movie theaters like we talk about Blockbuster Video or Tower Records. Everyone under the age of 25 is asking, what the hell's Tower Records? The reason Hollywood has struggled in recent years, besides the fact that they embrace the woke wiener, the quality of movies they've released have absolutely sucked. Movie quality has declined, with Hollywood having the potential of making hundreds of millions of dollars in movie theaters. What do you think the quality is going to be like if these production companies have the potential of making nothing? Link to the second channel's in the description below. Earlier today on the second channel, talked about the pending retirement of LeBron James. Father Time has clearly caught up with the self-proclaimed king. LeBron James, who's been the face of the NBA for over 20 years. At this stage of his career, he's not even the second, maybe not even the third best player on his own team. Retirement is rapidly approaching for LeBron James, but I explain why the biggest victim of his retirement could actually be the spawn of Bron. I explain why Bronny James could take the biggest impact from LeBron's retirement. So if you haven't already, click the link in the description below, subscribe to the second channel. You know, my generation, millennials, we are responsible for the demise of the music industry. When I was 12, 13 years old in the late 90s, this was when the internet was still in its infancy. We were downloading and sharing MP3s on a program called MIRC. 2 or 3 weeks before an album would be released to the public, we already had access to it. Eventually, Napster came along, LimeWire. By the early 2000s, there were dozens of file sharing apps for MP3s, and all of the music was free. At the time, we thought, this is great! We no longer had to wait in line at the record store. We no longer had to pay $15, $20 for a CD. We could download the entire album for free, burn it on a CD. Hell, in high school, I was making hundreds of dollars every week selling burnt CDs. We didn't know it at the time, but this was the beginning of the end of the music industry. Think about it. Who are the major mainstream artists today? Who's selling millions of albums? What record companies are making billions of dollars? Hell, most record companies are damn near out of business. Once music became free, record companies eliminated the budget for projects. Once the artist no longer had a budget, once they quit receiving an advance on their project, they had no incentive to make great records. Or it became prohibitively expensive to make great records. Those samples that they used to use on songs can no longer afford them. Those features on every other song on the album can no longer afford them. Artists used to record 50, 60 songs for an album. They would select the best 12 to 15 songs and put them on the CD. Now, they no longer do that because they can't afford the studio time because the record company isn't paying for it. As a result, the quality of music has drastically diminished. My teenage daughter listens to music that I grew up with because the music they're releasing today is the drizzling shits. And I'm wondering if the same thing is about to happen to the movie industry. Over the last couple of months, we've talked a lot about the decline of Hollywood here on the channel. These movie studios spending $400 million on a movie that generates $150 million at the box office. Obviously, that is not sustainable. But what happens if the box office no longer exists? What happens if movie theaters are shut down? Uncle Casey, that would never happen! Oh, yeah? They said the same thing about Blockbuster. They said the same thing about Tower Records. The music industry was crucified in the early 2000s for having the audacity to demand that fans pay for the music that they wanted to listen to. Everyone, myself included, we wanted the music for free. We got exactly what we wanted, and now we complain because the music is a steaming turd. With Netflix acquiring Warner Brothers, movies could bypass theaters altogether. Once filming and editing is completed, it would immediately be available on Netflix. Ted Sarandos, the executive of Netflix, he has already said movie theaters are outdated, which is fine. It's fine. But how are you going to replace that revenue? Well, KC, Netflix could offer the movies as rentals. You would pay an additional charge to access and watch the movie. Yeah, I mean, I guess that could be a solution. But how many people will be willing to pay? The music industry tried this same thing. Instead of selling albums, they started offering individual songs. But the quality of the music still declined. What's more likely to happen? Netflix increases the price of their monthly subscription for all subscribers because Netflix probably knows most people aren't going to be willing to pay extra to watch one movie. They expect everything to be included in their monthly subscription. Over the summer, Adam Sandler released Happy Gilmore 2. Budget for the film, over $150 million. How much money did the movie make? $0. It was released for free on Netflix. Look, I am no expert. I'm damn sure not a Hollywood insider, but I just don't see how this model is sustainable. It's hard to quantify the actual value of a film or even a TV show on Netflix. Happy Gilmore 2 generated over 46 million views the week of its release, but those 46 million views are absolutely meaningless because it didn't generate an Ethiopian breadcrumb in profit. Even the damn WNBA dump is capable of generating breadcrumbs. It's going to be interesting to see where the movie industry goes from here. Like I said, the quality of movies has been declining for years, and that was when they had the opportunity to recoup their budget. It's really a lose-lose for Hollywood. Streaming has decimated movie theaters, but at the same time, they haven't figured out a way to emulate revenue through streaming. We have all this technology available, and everything just seems to be getting worse. Everything is in decline. When your grandparents bought a washing machine, it lasted 10, maybe 20 years. You buy a washing machine today, it's resting at the end of your driveway 6 months later. The quality of food has declined. Entertainment in general has declined. If you turn on your TV right now, you'll see Christmas movies that were made 30, 40 years ago. Nothing is recent. And with Netflix acquiring Warner Brothers, I think it's going to get a lot worse. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys tomorrow.